Hi there, welcome to another video from the Vickers MG Collection and Research Association. Hopefully you saw recently the little fun vid of me lifting a tripod up and down really easily, and also perhaps the photo that we shared on our social media pages of 4 Vickers tripods, and trying to spot the difference between those because they were all different. So what we thought we'd do is just have a little insight over the next few weeks and months into different tripods that we've got, and some of which have come in a recent acquisition as well, for which we're really thankful to the seller for that, but also to to Patreons and patrons for helping us enhance the collection. It goes some way towards contributing to the everyday costs of the collection, so that we can then perhaps save up and make acquisitions still. So some of that's obviously the archive material that we've been sharing all the time, but occasionally we're able to acquire some of this nice stuff, even if it's on loan. The collection's here to try and bring this stuff together. So what we're doing is, one of those tripods that we've recently acquired is a Mark V. Now, some of you might be aware of the Mark V. Ooh, it still catches on everything, but it is a lightened tripod. The standard tripod for the Vickers was the Mark IV, and that was introduced from 1906 onwards. And what the Mark V was a lightened tripod, and it sits there to try and create a lighter mount. So I thought what we do is we'll have a quick look round it, and you'll see it. It's a little bit like one of our gun studies, but also put it up on the scales, and you can see actually what the difference is. So let's do that bit first, and then we'll take a look at the tripod in more detail. Now, in all good research, we need a control first. So let's just make sure that's tared to 0. And we've got the Mark IV tripod, which, as I say, it's the standard. This is an Australian-made tripod. It has that notch that we've talked about before in the belt carrier. So that weighs 22.59 kilos. Let's change that unit for imperial. 49.78 pounds. So 49 pounds, 50 pounds rounded up, which is pretty much the book weight. So yeah, 49 pounds on that. That's the standard tripod that I think you've probably seen in some of our gun studies before. It's the one that we keep out and actually use quite regularly for firing from. Let's change that back to kilos and look at the Mark V. So it is noticeably lighter, just to pick up. So the Mark V weighs 15 kilos. So I think that's about 2 kilos, 10 kilos almost lighter. And 34 pounds, so 16 pounds lighter, so about 8 kilos lighter, 16 pounds lighter, so a significant difference. And it's really interesting that they went for this idea of a lighter tripod. It was trialled from 1944, we've got that in the Ordnance Board proceedings, and didn't go with it because actually what you might well find is with a lighter tripod, you don't get the stability, you don't get the safety margins that everything's designed around. So you can't really rely on the range tables that you already have. The beaten zone's completely different if you're trying to do indirect fire, and that matters. Direct fire, the sight picture may well move more. So or the dial sights in the sighting may well need changing. So the Ordnance Board proceedings, and we've only got the President's report available at the moment for patrons. For everybody. Over time, we will be publishing all of the Ordnance Board memoranda, which includes all of these very detailed reports. But let's say July 1944 is probably going to be some months away by the time we get the opportunity to share that. We're currently sharing like 1 month per week. So, and we're into April 1939. So yeah, we're almost 5 years away. 5 years, 5 months, that's 60 months. We might get there this time next year with 1944 by the rate that we have to go through. But that shouldn't stop you supporting us. Please do so. And you'll get access to all this Ordnance Board information where they do have these trials and experiments. So please do support the association for access to all that as well. Let's take a closer look at the tripod in detail, because there are some differences. We'll stand it next to the Mark IV and you'll be able to see those. So let's take a look. Firstly, nomenclature, mount tripod MG Mark V, mount tripod MG Mark IV. But what is noticeable is that the Mark IV tripod is in Roman numerals, whereas the Mark V is in Arabic. That's because of when it was being introduced, the Army had already moved across to Arabic numerals by that point for its nomenclature. So I think it's May 1944 technically, it might be April, apologies for that. But they'd already moved across mid-1944 to the Arabic numerals there, which is quite interesting. There's another minor on there as well, that they've stopped. There's no full stops between the MG. I don't know whether that's relevant or not, but you know, it's nice to spot. What you'll see as well is this work from the top down, I suppose. The pins are hollowed out. You know, not the case on this. The pin is hollowed out. That's that extra lightweight nature of it as well. It has a very, very simple direction dial. S254 is the manufacturer's code for that. It's a manufacturer's code for Portadyne radio, which we believe is the manufacturer of the tripod as well. We know. You know, so what we've got is PL and then 1886 as the serial number there, and somewhere up here, yeah, 1945 manufacturer. So there weren't that many of these made, less than 2,000. They were quickly declared obsolete as well. This is the normal Mark II direction dial. We do have available to download the the catalogue of vocabulary of Army Ordnance stores that covers the Mark V. If you look at the top, you can see that there is a fair, let's take this pin out actually, and you'll see that it's hollowed out again, and the handle is hollowed out as well. So, but the top has also got an amount of material cut away from the crosshead joint there, the elevating pin joint. You know, it's solid on that one, lightweight on that one. You can start to see the different coloured metal, which is, I suppose, is the most fundamental point of the lightning. It's made from duralumin or duralumin. So that is a portmanteau of durable aluminium. So let's crush those words together and get duralumin. So there's several different types of that. You can look that up on Wikipedia, you'll find it. Now there is a hole here that I'm not 100% sure on what that is for at the moment. That's something for me to go away and research a little bit more about, but it clearly doesn't feature on the Mark IV tripod or any of the Mark IV tripods that I've seen. The direction dial is exactly the same as the Mark IV direction dial. They didn't, as far as I'm aware, mess about with this. It looks exactly the same in the parts catalogue as well. As we come down, the body is the same. We've got the serial number in here as well. So it's a different serial number, PL1796. Top and bottoms do rarely match on tripods. It's not to be unexpected here. We have this hole in the rear cross leg too. That hole does not exist on this tripod, but that hole, it might well be for lightning. I expect it is. I don't think it forms any other function. There is another option that just springs to mind, is that if you were looking for extra stability on this, you could tie or tie a sandbag to this to provide some extra weight and sit the tripod above it if it was having problems with stability. What is the most notable difference to what people might expect though is the feet are standard feet. So these are made out of duralumin again. They're not steel, they are lightweight, but Dolphin is original 1994 version of the Grand Old Lady of No Man's Land, and hopefully very soon we'll have the reprint of that I collaborated with him, Robert Siegel and Dan Shea on. We should have those available very soon, I'm told. But that shows spikes on these feet, which was, we think that must have been a prototype. It sits in the MOD pattern room. Until we get to that 1944 series of Ordnance Board memoranda, we probably won't be sure. But these are certainly standard shape feet, and you can see the other in the rear there, the Mark IV standard feet. What else is different on this? Nothing, I don't think. Let's say the main things are those hollowed out pins, the direction dial pointer, and a couple of extra holes. The elevating joint, pin there, and I think that is it. Yeah, chains are just the same. You can see here we have this, the rear leg joint pin there is also hollowed out. That has a hole in it, but that is certainly more hollowed out. So I hope that's been interesting for you. A quick look around a Mark V tripod, something quite scarce. It's not something we'll be using in our demonstrations. I know people might expect us to. It's certainly going to be here in the collection for people to pick up and show. We may well mount the gun that we think has airborne provenance on it, and we may well do not only a video but a book on airborne Vickers machine guns, how they were used, and then some of the special equipment, so such as this, and then the backpacks, the carriers for ammunition liners, for example. But oh yeah, look, you can see that pin there's hollowed out quite a lot on the Mark V, and it's solid on the Mark IV. Yeah, why didn't the British Army stick with this? Well, let's say stability is an issue, but also you're looking to a material that is scarcer than the Mark IV material, so steel and brass, but also you've got a lot of these Mark IV tripods in stock. You've been building them since 1906 they came into service. So why? It's already heavy. It does everything it wants. It's going to save you £20, £16, but for what purpose? That's the weight of an ammunition box, 250 rounds. Now that might sound a lot, but in the context of an infantry-based army, post-Second World War, and also the Vickers was obviously declared obsolete, or seeking obsolescence and seeking replacement from 1938 and then 1947 onwards. So this goes out of service, quite quickly, a couple of years after production. But we're really pleased to have one in the collection and welcome people coming to see it. Along with the rest of the collection very soon. Like I say, just final sort of request, please, to do support us on Patreon. It's really important. We've got some exciting stuff coming up that and research that needs funding. So thank you for those that do support us, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. Please support us on Patreon if you're able to, and let us know of anything you'd like to see in the future. I look forward to hearing from you.